Hi, I'd like to welcome you to the call. Create a six-figure hypnosis and NLP practice. Help more people, have more fun. That's what it's all about. And this call is a little bit different than some of the others, but it's a lot of fun. So anyway, very first thing I'd like to do is make sure you're ready. So type ready in the question box so I can see it. Great. Okay. What would happen if you could set up the type of practice you always wanted? Well, it's no secret that most hypnotists make very little income. Most don't know how to generate income. They mishandle phone calls. They lose a lot of money on that aspect. They have no role models of success. That's a big one, right? Because they go to conferences and if they're only hanging around with people who all say that they can't make money, then obviously it becomes even more of a problem. They use old, outdated practice building material, right? They fall into the law of reverse effect. The harder they try, the harder it becomes. And then because then they're using old, outdated information, it digs a deeper hole. So here's what's many try for, we want to call it traditional practice building. Speaking to civic groups, you know, the Rotary, the Chamber of Commerce. Now, there's a specific way you can do this, but it's better to go there to practice your speaking skills, not to get clients. Very few people I know, what happens, this is one of those myths, everybody talk, oh yeah, you do this, this, and this, because it was, you know, it used to work in the 70s. Doesn't work now, right? The only group that might be the exception to that is BNI, but even then it has to be done in a specific way. They try networking with local businesses, and usually what happens, everybody talks about referrals, very few people get referrals. They try handing out flyers, which can be done if they're handed out in the right places. They go to health fairs, which is the biggest waste of your time, right? If you go and I know a person believed all this bull. They came down here. They wanted to start a practice. I went in with them, and there was a big health fair in that city, Fort Myers, and I'm like, I'm not going, you know, and I pay for it out of your own pocket. It's not coming out of the business. So we went round around that. So she went there, and she, anyway, make a long story short, she ended up leaving before it was over, and not one client came out of it, right? They approach doctors, which should only be done in a specific way at a specific time, right? Now, here's why it doesn't work. Civic groups are full of do-gooders. They're there and they talk about, doing the town cleanup, the park cleanup. They go and they do some other things like that. They're great groups, but sometimes they don't really work on the right things, right? Again, it might have worked in the 70s. It worked a little bit in the 80s, but it works less and less, right? It's not done correctly, right? If it's not done correctly, it's not going to work. You have to go there with a specific thing. And most people, until they're ready, they don't have the guts. One thing, they try to speak to the civic groups before they have a client list where they can talk about clients that they've worked with. Also, they're not ballsy enough to just start out to saying, like if I was speaking to the chamber or one of these groups, I say, well, if you're overweight and you're in any kind of business that sells something, you're less effective than someone that's not overweight. That's a study. I don't care if it's right or wrong. People judge you by how you look, right? And I used to say, and if you're a fat, disgusting pig, you're not getting the kind of referrals and business that you could, right? And anymore, if you're a smoker and people smell it on your breath, you're perceived as lazy, right? So that's one of the things, and not everybody has the guts to do that. And they have no clear plan when they go speak to these groups and other things in general, how to build their business. They're trying a shotgun approach, and they're not sure what's working. And here's the biggie. They don't know how to sell hypnosis services, right? They try to sell hypnosis, not the services. So here's what you need to do in 5 steps. One is decide what type of practice you want. There's, to me, 3 or 4 basic types, right? Learn how to sell clients on the magic, right? Lately, there's been a trend where people want to talk about, oh, hypnosis is just like meditation. No, it's not. Actually, it's not. If you read the neuroscience, it's not. Also, Oh, it's just like relaxation. Well, why is somebody paying me money? They know how to relax. They can get on a fishing boat and sit out in the, where I'm at, the Gulf of Mexico. That's very relaxing. Won't help you lose weight, won't help you stop smoking, but it's relaxing. No, it's not relaxation. It's magic. You got to sell them on the magic. They don't know how to handle phone calls. This is the biggest killer of business right there, right? They don't have a protocol. So in other words, if they do talk to doctors or other people, or when clients come in, they can't talk, well, I have a 6-step protocol for weight loss. I have a 3-step protocol for smoking. Doesn't matter if you're going to kind of wing it. You better talk about a protocol, because that's what we've been just overwhelmed with in the medical community, right? And now in the psych community is protocols, evidence-based treatment, right? And you've got to have a marketing plan. I love when I'm at a conference, somebody will go, well, marketing doesn't work. Advertising doesn't work. Oh, yeah, that's why Coca-Cola, the most recognized brand on the planet, spends 25% of their projected income on marketing. Ford, another one, the Blue Oval, they advertise, right? Why? Advertising works. It's got to be done right, and consistently, but it works. Then they need to find a mentor, someone that's done what they want to do. Now, here's a hidden secret. You still must network at every opportunity, right? Because you're probably the only hypnotist they've ever met. Now down here in Florida, I can call myself a psychologist. I can call myself an alcohol and drug counselor. Most of the time, I'm back to just saying I'm a hypnotist. Why? That gets people, really? And then they'll go into, oh, I had a cousin or a friend or somebody, but it's different. And you can make it fun. I don't think I can be hypnotized. What makes you say that? Yada, yada, yada. So it can be fun, right? And if you learn some fun little hypnosis things, it can be easy. So step one, though, you have to decide what type of practice do you want, right? There's a part-time practice, which is what a lot of us start with, right? Because they're doing other things, right? But it still must be taken like a business, right? I stress, if you want to be taken seriously, and this upsets people, you can't see people in your house, right? No doctor, no psychologist sees people in their house. End of story. Businesses have offices, right? That's part of the rule, right? Plus, do you want these people coming to your house? I don't, to be honest with you. No. It's like you should have an office, right? And also separate your mentally. So when you're at the office, you're at the office, right? Or a specialty or a niche practice where you only do 1 or 2 things, If you are only going to have people only work with battered women or addictions or whatever, but you really only focus on that. You might occasionally take someone outside of that focus, but you're always talking about your niche. This can be quite powerful, right? Even if you say your specialty is weight loss. Really? I can do the other stuff. I can do this, this, and this, and I've done it, but my specialty is weight loss, right? Because you sound more professional. Your heart surgeon doesn't treat a broken bone. Not that he couldn't, he doesn't do it, right? And if you get busy enough in your niche, you can spread out, right? But, or the thing I tell people, a little hidden secret, is to pick your niche by who you're talking to. If someone's overweight, you talk about my niche, my specialty is weight loss, right? If you're talking to somebody that smokes, you could say my specialty is smoking. Whatever it is, right? And then, though, you could have a couple of cards for each one. The worst thing you can have is a laundry list business card. I treat phobias, memory, stress, anxiety, sports, weight loss, smoking, yada, yada, yada. It's a plumber is a plumber. He's not going to fix electrical, right? Stay focused. Group practice. on a specialty spelled wrong, group practice, where you work with other people. I dissuade people from doing this if at all possible, right? You could go into a group to get started, but you want to get your own thing going. A celebrity practice. This is one where if you've had a best-selling book, but it really has to be a best-selling book, right? And then you can build it on your celebrity, you know. A multi-room or super practice. I've had each one of these types of practices, right? So you got to decide what you want to do. Maybe start with one and go to the other. And the multi-room super practice, which still works, that's actually one of the easier ones to do, but you got to be ready to do it, right? How to handle phone calls and inquiries. This is where, and I'll give this away for free, most hypnotists screw it up, right? They're so excited about hypnosis, they fix people on the phone. Or they're such a helper when they're getting started. When the person's in pain, they fix their pain on the phone, and then people don't come in. When people call, they only call for one reason. They're curious. You cannot get rid of their curiosity. You need to make them more curious. You know, yeah, I know being fat is really miserable, isn't it? You can't get in your clothes. You hate yourself, yada, yada, yada. What would it be like if you lost the weight? How would you feel? You know, how would your husband treat you, your wife treat you, your friends? Wouldn't it be great to be the one that all your girlfriends hate? You know, yada, yada, yada. You make them more curious about it. Well, how do you do it? Well, that's decided. I always tell people, you come in for the consultation. If they won't come in and talk to you, you're wasting your time on the phone. I'll repeat that. If they won't come in and talk to you, you are wasting your time on the phone, right? Because it's the biggest time waster. Plus, if you're really busy and you spend 30 minutes on the phone, you've wasted 30 minutes, right? And also, I think subconsciously, the person on the phone realizes, well, they just talked to me for 30 minutes. They're not very busy, right? And again, it wastes that client's curious state. And it tests their level of commitment. If they won't come in and talk to you for a free, no risk consultation, evaluation, they're not committed. Don't waste your time, you know, and know when to talk on the phone. You know, clients calling you up on a follow-up. People that have come in for the consultation don't sign up in the consultation, which is rare if it's done right. Then you talk to them on the phone, right? Step 3, think that you're selling services. You got to develop a proper mindset. At this point, you're selling something. I just had a meeting with someone, and it was on something else. They ran a non-for-profit. That's the first problem. But secondly, we talked about this, and they were talking about these profit centers that do what they do. And he just thought it was sleazy. Well, they're kicking his ass, to be honest with you. If you think it's sleazy, you know, selling's not sleazy, you know. You got to have the proper mindset. You know, you're always pitching yourself. People must be, they're interested in hypnosis. But you can't help them if you don't become clients. That's the only thing I told the guy when he thought it was sleazy, because they were using professional marketers, right? But it's like, you know what? If they don't come and see you, you can't help them, right? They don't come to your center. No. These people are getting them to come in, right? So I can't help you if you don't come in, if you don't become clients, right? I can't check it out, if you will. So if I fix you over the phone, I don't know if it's working or not working, right? So if you come in, I can track it. And to do this, you have to find the client's pain point. I always say, this sounds cold, it's easier to sell somebody something if you set them on fire and you're selling them a fire extinguisher, right? If you put them out of pain, so they're, oh yeah, it's not that bad. Well, denial or it's not that bad keeps people in pain long term, right? People want to make a change when they're in pain. When they can't buckle their pants on their favorite suit or zip up their dress, right? Their favorite dress. That's the pain point. Doesn't that make you feel terrible? Don't you feel like a loser, right? When that happens? Yes. Well, let's fix that. That's it. You're ample in pain. You're giving them a way out, you know, and that's giving them a taste and a solution. You got to be selling your services. You sell the magic, and then you close them. You get a commitment, right? You get the commitment. And, you know, This one's fun to do to people when you first start doing it, because usually I say, well, I'm doing my dog and pony show, and I'm making, we've gone through, I've upped the pain, I've offered the solution, we've done the things. I said, so here are my 2 programs. And if you decide to do it, let's say my weight loss program is $977. If you do it today and we get started, or my other one's $1977. If you do it today and we get started, that's because I want to get you in, if you prepay, yada, yada, yada. I teach all that. But if you don't do it today, that price is $1177 and $2177. Well, most people will sign up. Those that call later, I'll sign up if I can get that price. Now, this one's tough. But if you're making money, you can do it. I'm sorry. You missed it. It's $1177. Well, then I'm not coming in. Well, I wish you the best. All right? Because they're testing you. And if you give up, then you're going to lose all power in the relationship. They've set the standard. I'm in charge. You're going to do what I tell you. Right? Not saying I've done this to people, and then, after I charge them, then after the first or second session, I go, I tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to give you a couple of extra sessions. Or I usually don't give them money back, but I give them something equal to or greater than that value. Right? But then you need a marketing plan. Step 4. You got to model what works. You got to model what works, right? What do you want to do? Find a person that has that type of practice. And then you need some client scripts, like phone scripts, selling scripts, how to close on consultations. You need a live pitch that works on an elevator when you're talking to a Rotary or a civic group, if you decide to go there, or when you're giving a presentation to people. Right? You need to find a mentor that has done it. And, why most mentors can or cannot or will not help you, right? Step 5, you need a protocol. You need to develop or use a step-by-step method for the major problems you're going to be working with in your specialty, in your niche, or in your office. And even if you don't really have much of a protocol, you need to understand to talk about a protocol, because it's duplicatable and you get more respect from the medical and psychological community. When you talk about medical, now you could say evidence-based treatment. Well, what's your evidence? Based on my clients, right? But that's the current buzzwords. It finds trouble. If you're doing a duplicatable system and someone's stuck between the second and third week of a weight loss program, well, you probably should go back and repeat what I would do in the first or the second, right? Because it's just easier, It frees your mind to give your energy for when you really need it, like people that are stuck, issues that are coming up. Because that, like I said, it gives you skills where they're needed. So here's what you need to do. You need to begin to read about successful business ideas. Not just hypnosis, but all. Because you might get a gem of wisdom. You need to develop your plan for your business. You need to change your mindset. You need to challenge the status quo. You need to follow a plan. You need to follow a plan, right? And then you have a plan that works that you can customize for yourself. So here's an example. I was talking to somebody a couple months ago. They're trying to get their practice started, right? They'd had a practice, they kind of shut it down or whatever, moved. A bunch of things can happen. Great. All right. Well, first of all, they were stuck. They couldn't seem to get it started, right? So we started talking about it, and they hired me as a coach, right? And so we started talking, and well, the biggest problem was, well, they had this practice somewhere else for several years, so it had matured, it had developed a referral base, it was kind of a general practice, and now she was restarting. And she wanted to almost like take what she did up north down here right at the end, which is, it doesn't work. She's talking about too many things to too many different people. So we had to hone in her specialty. What do you really want to do? Where's your passion, right? Because that's where your voice comes through. Great. Let's start with that and build from that. Or talk about how is there any way what you want to work with can be related to weight loss, right? Because weight loss will get your practice up and running. I still say that, right? Why? America's fat. They're trying to lose weight. So if you could talk about, well, my specialty is phobia and trauma. And did you know that most people fail at weight loss programs because they have an unresolved trauma from their past, which, by the way, there's a lot of evidence beginning to point this out. So great. So, and then if you're talking to somebody that's overweight, they go, oh, if they've had a trauma, it lights them up. Then you can still do your trauma stuff, and you can tag in a very easily replicatable weight loss program, right? So once we got it started, now our practice is up and running, and she's doing some things, right? And she tried a couple other things, networking with a chiropractor. That went over like, as they say, turd in a punch bowl. She found out basically what the chiropractor wanted was all the referrals, and to do a seminar where she do all the networking, all the work, and then he show up and takes 50% of the money, right? It doesn't work that way, right? So, basically, it's back to the old, if you want it done, you got to do it yourself, right? And thank God she called, because she was about to burn some money with somebody that was going to, market her program for her for seminars. And well, I go, is it based on how many people they put in? No. Oh, well, whatever it was, several $100s. Take it out, put it on the table, and set it on fire, right? So anyway, we got her going. Now it's rolling, and things are starting to work. So that's an example. You need to focus. You need to get exact. You need to make your message clean, right? So what we just did, she tried several models. She was going to do this, going to do that, going to do this. We started the process of change, right? She's going to focus on a niche that's her niche was the trauma, and we're going to focus on that, but link it to like weight loss and stress, and then which is what more people want, or is more general, and then put the two together. It gives you a unique marketing thing, right? And then develop the proper mindset. She had to step back into selling herself again, because nobody knew who she was, right? And know that it can be done. So here's why most mentors fail. Most have a cookie cutter, only my way, right? Well, I wouldn't do that kind of program. Do this, right? A huge multi-room specialty practice. The mentors might not have enough broad-based experience. They only know what kind of practice they worked in. They've never worked in the other kinds of practices, so they don't know anything about those kinds of practices, right? They can't teach properly, Knowing and doing it, it's not teaching it. There's two different things. It's a churn and burn approach. If I can get 50 people in my practice builder and 5 or 6 stay with me for quite a while, I'm a success. Well, what about the 40 that it doesn't work? Well, that just happens, right? So here's what I want you to have. I don't take that approach. I try to build each person individually, right? So here's what I want you to have: a practice model for you. Know how to handle phone calls, a marketing plan, sales skills, a protocol for weight loss. So introducing the ultimate practice builder, 6-figure cash practice, right? I believe this is the best course on practice building because it's different because of experience, training, and background. And if you don't have this and you're not up and running, you're going to stay stuck. And you can get started in 2 days if you sign up and start the course. It's the ultimate practice builder, right? Your personal practice plan, Module 1. Phone calls and screening magic, Module 2. Module 3, it's a marketing plan. Module 4, develop a protocol. Challenges, checklists, recordings. You can go back and listen to these anytime. There's a community. There's personal coaching involved for a total value of over $3,000, right? I usually charge $997 when people want to do this, right? And I do some coaching. I still have them do what we're going to talk about, and then I coach them up, right? So I was going to charge $397, but because it's that time of year, I'm going to do it as a special for $197. So go here to nfnlp.com. Look at high achievers. Look for ways to succeed. The only catch, you have to have the courage to break away from the status quo. So next time you go to a conference, do you want to be standing around the people that are making money in hypnosis, that this is their livelihood? Or do you want to be standing with all the people that are saying, it's not clear, I can't make money, right? So you have a decision to make. The good news is it's an easy decision, right? So you can PayPal Dr. Will Horton at gmail.com. And it's sixfigurecashpractice.com. Without it, stay in a rut. Anger, because you're not doing what you want to do. You're not being true to yourself. You're not impacting the world. Now with it, you have the freedom to learn. You're helping more people. You're having fun again, right? Once you help more people, you're having more fun. You join the elite group. And as a bonus, you can take more mentoring if you want later on. And I'll give you a discount toward that, which is my personal mentoring or coaching, which I charge. I will not lie, I charge quite a bit for because I'm giving you an hour or two a week for a year. But if you're in this program, when we go to talk about it, I take 50% of that off the top, right? So it's risk-free. It's an easy decision. If you're not happy, you can get your money back. Of course, you lose access to the training and the community and access to me as your personal coach. So what to do? Go to sixfigurecashpractice.com, www.sixfigurecashpractice.com, sixfigurecashpractice.com, to secure your spot right now. You click the button and it says $197 to us, and you can get right into the website. Or you could PayPal $197 to drwillhorton at gmail.com. And you can look for details on upcoming webinars. I'm going to add some things. I'm going to add a new webinar to it and add more things. So go ahead and do it right now. sixfigurecashpractice.com. I'd like to thank you for being a part of this call. And I always look forward to helping people grow their business. So thank you and have a great day.